Okay, this is movie 26, and I wanted to show you where I'm at with the Mustang and a few things that I found while disassembling it. Next Saturday, I'm supposed to take it to get it blasted, so I just have this weekend, and today's Saturday at about 4 o'clock. So I've just got this weekend to get it all apart. I'm leaving town, and I know you can see the windshield's going to take me 2 minutes to get that out. The lines and the pedals, I think, still need to come out. But other than that, I think the disassembly is pretty much complete. You know, the master cylinder part of the pedal assembly and the lines, the fuel line's still on it. The motor mounts, those got to come off. And these lower control arm strut rods, they need to come off as well. I made the mistake of not taking them off before I stripped the front suspension, and now, of course, you can't hold them enough to get them to even impact off. So, as usual, taking the front and rear suspensions off was a no fun job, very dirty, and pretty much, you don't get to save any nuts and bolts. Had a lot of issues with removing the front steering. Most of it centered around fasteners that won't come loose. The biggest problem with doing these old cars is there's a lot of corrosion that happens, and a lot of corrosion you don't see. When you buy a car, you typically look for the body, and you look at the body and say, how is the body? Well, the body on this one's really good, but you find things like this, where there's just tons of dirt and scale in places that can hide rust, and you can't see that when you're looking at the car, although underneath that dirt is not much rust, so I was very happy about that. This side, of course, uncrashed, and this side crashed. Big difference in the suspension. Believe it or not, the side that was crashed is the more worn out of the suspension, and the side that wasn't is like brand new. So I was very concerned about that, what led to that. And then, of course, here's what you see. We'll let this thing get focused on it. Just a second there. Come on. You can do it. What you can see here is bolts like this. There we go. You can see the corrosion on them. And you can see the ends of them. And that they pull the inserts in the frame rail out with them. And these things don't want to come out. I mean don't want to come out. There's no way to get at them. Some of them you just have to cut and get out. But as you can see, lots of corrosion. The front suspension, the damage in the accidents, probably repaired okay, but not great. The rear they totally neglected, and maybe they didn't realize it at the time. But taking the rear end out, of course, couldn't take the bolts off, so I had to hot saw the U-bolts off. This side looks okay, right? See the spring perch is on, nice and solid. This side over here was showing a lot of grease, and there's why. The axle tube, as you can see on the bottom, actually lost its spring perch. Yeah, you probably can't see it, there's not enough light. Maybe you can. It lost its spring perch. Apparently in the accident, it got torn clean off. It was there, it was just sitting on the leaf spring. The leaf spring I knew had lost its centering bolt. But here you'll see the difference between the driver's side, the upper one, and the passenger side, the lower one. All the leaves in the leaf springs in the rear had slipped backwards because that perch had torn off the centering bolt and the welds had torn loose from the rear end housing. Yeah. And it was leaking all the grease going down that side. I'm just shocked this thing drove. Remember, I drove this down to get the body work done. So, very, very glad I tore it apart. Glad was able to get this thing to get down there and check it out. But boy, I didn't see that one coming. I'm glad I took it apart because that's very concerning. And then once again, Montgomery Ward shocks. The top bolts came off really good. The rear ones there was no shot of. I'll take all that stuff apart later. And as I said, the driver's side control arms, ball joints are perfect. And passenger side, not so much. Although all of it's just basically crap except for the brake backing plates will probably be, and the steering arms will be the only things I reuse off of this pile. This is a pile of waste metal that's got to go for a ride pretty soon. But right now, got the, can't see them kind of stacked here, but got my rotisserie so they can do this. I already made my stand for my engine and transmission, which I pulled out as one, using that Max tool, the pivot plate that mounts to the carburetor flange. Big fan. It's worth the money. I mean, that was big bucks, but it was worth the money. But anyway, I got work to do, and hopefully I get to go out tonight, because if you stay in here too long, you get to be real crabby, and especially when none of this stuff wants to come apart. Part of me wants to build a body cart right now for it, and part of me wants to put it on the rotisserie and finish taking it apart and just shove it down to the sandblaster with the rotisserie. But I don't know that all that's going to happen. I'll probably build the body cart. Anyway, there's the update.